It's been a while, I will confess that, but in my defense, I've had to deal with the absolute wonder that is the American education system that has left me busy beyond hell and given me no time to post really bad videos. Not the point. Anyways, let's just dive in. All right. So literally a few hours before writing this script, I watched Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and I have a few thoughts. Does it live up to the hype? Let's find out. This movie obviously needs no introduction, as I'm sure you've already seen all the trailers and all the posters and all the marketing, so I'm just going to get straight into the meat and the potatoes. Wait, that wasn't meant to be a pun. Yeet Man in the Halo Rings is hands down the best action I have seen all year. It absolutely nails down the fight scenes with just bombastic choreography and insane stunts with fantastic effects. I'll go more in depth with this in a short spoiler section toward the end, but for now, just know that when you watch this, you will see action scenes never before seen in a Marvel film. Simulio is great in all of his fight scenes playing Shang-Chi, but honestly, the actor that plays Shang-Chi's sister kind of stole all of her fights. She was just so badass with her scorpion weapon, the knife on his string, and that ending action. Oh my god! It was just jaw-dropping and absolutely balls to the walls. I'll go deeper into this later, as I said before, but for now, just trust me. On the topic of actors, holy heck, is the cast stacked for this one. Michelle Yeoh is in this. Tony Leung is in this. Frickin' Yun Hua is in this. Yun Hua, the Kung Fu landlord himself. Aquafina is also surprisingly good in this film. I always found her a little annoying sometimes, especially in Raya and the Last Dragon. And whenever I watch her try to do like a emotional or dramatic scene in that movie, I could never really take it seriously. But she surprisingly nails the role in this film. Uh, a lot of the comedy she talks about, a lot of her comedic writing is just good in general. She's a really funny character, actually. There are also some really fun cameos in this movie too that I won't spoil, so you can enjoy it for yourself. But I will tell you this: one cameo is actually done really well, and it's kind of funny. But I'll let you figure out which one. The film also has a really solid story. I mean, like, yeah, sure, the film gets a little maybe expositional and a little basic towards the climax. It surprisingly avoids a lot of cliches that you would normally expect in the beginning. A lot of the key plot points subvert, almost like you can completely subvert your expectations. I mean, sure, you can see some things coming, but a lot of subversion in there. I'll admit, when I first saw the trailer, I was a little like not really excited. I mean, from the trailer alone, it looked very cliche and simple and basic, like every other hero must find his destiny story, kind of like A New Hope. But it is not like that at all. It also feels very disconnected from the rest of the MCU, if you know what I mean. It only really makes itself an MCU film by having, the cameos and a couple offhand remarks that reference the events of Infinity War and Endgame. And I kind of like that. The separation really makes this film its own unique thing. It allows for a separate tale to be told without any influence from the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that makes this movie feel different. In a good way, too. Oh, it's also funny as hell. I mean, all the jokes, they land all the time. I actually, watching this movie was my first time in the cinema since pre-COVID, and for most of the jokes, the whole theater was laughing like it was a sitcom. I mean, a lot of energy in there. Like I said, this was the first time I'd been in the theater, and the energy of the movie was just seeping into the audience. We were just eating it up, and I could tell everyone there was having fun, which is what you want out of a movie. Oh, I have to address this too. I also want to say that I really appreciate this movie for coming out when it did. now we're obviously past the peak of COVID and all that, but with the whole social climate regarding Asians, this movie did everything it needed to do. I mean, it wasn't intended to, you know, release as an Asian film in this circumstance, but Asians are only now really being pushed into pop culture, and this movie is just on top of that. I mean, there's a lot of love put into this film. All of the Chinese architecture and design and art style and just everything feels authentic and Chinese. And I don't mean any of that Chinatown, gratuitous overuse of dragon stuff, I mean that design feels like a callback to the legendary and iconic era that is Imperial China, with the sprawling red palaces and nice red towers and the minimal use of dragons with a couple of actual Chinese folklore animals, which is a really cool detail I really appreciate there. Uh, Also, a lot of Mandarin Chinese spoken in this film, or as my Chinese teacher would say, 普通话, which means common language. Uh, the Mandarin prevents Shang-Chi from feeling too white, if you know what I mean. It prevents it from being too Hollywood-esque. It still keeps its roots in there. Now, it is time to talk about spoilers. If you do not want me to ruin this absolutely fantastic movie for you, please, 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 please go to the time frame on screen now. Do not watch the spoilers if you have not watched this movie. This section is only for those that have watched the film and want to know my thoughts, or if you're a monster that just wants to hear the spoilers before you go watch the movie. Ready? Okay, let's go. I really enjoyed the theme of this film. It's almost a bit of a sad story that just tells a tale of a father that just cannot move on versus his children who already have a long time ago. Tony Leung's character is just really the focus of this movie. I mean, all he wants is his wife back, which eventually just became this obsession to just try to reach some sense of normalcy. The lengths he goes to murder, to stealing, to theft, to just more murder. The lengths he goes to repair his family, just you feel it. Okay, this makes him the perfect foil character for the protagonist, quote unquote, Shang-Chi himself, obviously. Shang is also quite interesting as he doesn't really have much growth over the film. He has like one moment where he gets a little bit of growth where he tries to learn the Tai Chi style that Ta Lo practices to contrast the more aggressive Hung Kun that his father practices. But other than that, though, Shang isn't really a deep character, which to me is a good thing. It allows for more focus to be put on other secondary characters like his sister Shu Xialing, who I feel like had a little bit of development. She went from spiteful to just all in all being just totally negative to someone that cared more. Just really appreciated family a little more. Oh, Aquafina, of course, that her too, and as I said before, Tony Leung. Oh, I also just want to rave how absolutely badass the final battle was. I mean, that bit when Shang roared on the dragon, that was freaking nuts. The effects were stunning, like downright probably some of the best I've seen. Oh man, the whole scene, just balls to the freaking walls, just all the walls. It was just crazy. All right, literally out of Dragon Ball Z. I mean, holy crap, it was so nuts. It's not like endgame level of nuts, but it gets pretty dang close. All right. Um. Oh, you know the Avenger charge in like Endgame? It's like that, but it's watered down a teensy tiny bit. But it's still so good. Also, the tease that Xialing would be running the 10 rings and that they would return is super well handled and a little predictable, but for once it feels good to have a bit of a normal threat for once after all the intergalactic shenanigans of MCU Phase 3. Uh, I don't really have more. Oh, you know what? The post-credit scene, that was pretty cool too, actually. I don't want to spoil that one because that was too good to spoil, but I like how they just really built up what was going to happen next for Shang and Aquafina. and just the tease that there's something going on in those rings. It's gold. It's actually gold. This is a really good movie if you can't tell already. But yeah, that was a pretty short spoiler section, but I didn't want to say more than I needed to. This is a very service level spoiler discussion, but still, I wanted to just talk about it a little bit, which is why I put the warning, because this movie is just so good. I just did not want to spoil it. So yeah. Okay, this video is getting too long, so I'm just gonna cut to the chase here. Okay, Asian Iron Fist and the 10 Lords of the Rings. Yes, this gets a brand new record of 9 potatoes out of 10. This movie is great in every regard, from the culture to the acting to the writing. It has it all. It does lose 1 potato in the harvest because of just some jokes that don't land as they're intended to, and some of the camera work is a little strange, like maybe a tad over slow motion, like the petty stuff, right? Do I recommend you watch this? Hell yes. This film lives up to all the hype. Go watch it. I don't care if you have to sell your newborn child an Xbox Series X and a house to watch this movie. Just go watch it, okay? And you know what? Watch it 1 time. Watch it 2 times. Watch it 3 times. This movie has a lot of rewatchability on top of it. You can just watch this as many times as you want and enjoy it. It's like Yeet Man. You can just watch it over and over again and have fun with it. It is such a good movie. Go watch it already. God, this movie just breaks records, okay? It gets a 9 out of 10 potatoes by me. It's fresh, it's ripe. I don't care what you want to call it. It's a potato. Alright? Oh, man. Okay. I'm gonna breathe. Go watch the movie. Next video will be some actual gameplay.